Hello, welcome or welcome back. Today I wanted to remind you of just how important it is that you stop telling the old story, because whatever story you're telling is what is going to show up in reality. So that's what I want to talk about today. Stick around. Okay, just a couple of things before we kick off. My name is Hedley Derenzie, for those of you who are new to my channel. I am a qualified life coach and author, and I'm also super passionate about the amazing teachings of the law of assumption as originally taught by the great American mystic Neville Goddard. It is the stories that we tell that create our life. So if you want to change any part of your life, you need to start by changing the story. And if you want to create the most amazing life, then you need to know how to tell the most amazing stories. And that is where these teachings can help, and that is why I am here. Since rediscovering these teachings myself, I'm telling myself better stories, and I really want to help you to do the same. If you would like help with this or support, I am available for one-to-one coaching. I also have a free 21-day Set Yourself Up with the Ultimate Self-Concept course, which is the foundation for everything. All of that is available for instant access down below. Or if you just want to stay connected, I am on Instagram. Those details are below as well. Okay, let's get into it. So today I am talking about the stories that we tell and how to stop telling the stories that we don't want to continue experiencing in reality. This is super important, and this is actually something I am continuing to work on myself, because I find myself falling back into old ways and just telling shitty stories that serve no purpose other than to get a bit of a hit. So we want to stop that, and I want to explain why it's really important that we do start stopping that now, because of what's happening in the world. But before I get into it, just a couple of things. As some of you know, I've been making these videos since probably October, so that's about 3 months, not that long, but I have been doing 5 videos a week, and I am finding that while I can do, and I love doing 5 videos a week, it's not allowing me much time to do other things. And because things have started to go so well from this channel, I'm actually wanting to create more content and learn to do more things like record meditations and things like that. So I just need to create myself some more time. So I'm going to be doing videos Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So that's 3 videos a week, which I think is good because that gives you a bit of space to implement the things that I'm talking about. The other thing that I wanted to say is that I wanted to really give you, make this as practical as possible, because that is the key. You can listen to as many videos as you want and listen to as many teachers, read as many books as you want, but until you actually apply it, it is not going to have any impact on your life or your reality at all. The application, and Neville will say this repeatedly, it is in the application where these teachings really have power. So listening to them will not do it. Knowing this information will not do it. So what I also want to do with these videos is I am going to give 3 plays to take away for you to apply throughout the day. In other words, action steps from what I'm talking about, 3 action steps that you can apply in your day from the things that I've talked about. And I'm going to give that at the end of the video, because I want to really help people to stay with these teachings, but then also to apply them. So do stick around to the end of the video, where I will give you 3 plays to take away that you can apply throughout the day. Okay, so we are talking about stopping telling the old story. When you get into these teachings and you start to realize just how much of the shitty stories we're telling, but also the people around us are telling, it's almost default that we go into telling all of these awful things that have happened to us, or remembering the awful things that happened to us in the past. Not only living in the past, but repeating the things that have happened that are unfavorable and reliving them in our storytelling. And we catch up with friends, oh, so this happened and blah, blah, blah. Not only do we tell the story, but we animate it with our body. So we really get into this telling of the story because we want our friends or colleagues or whoever it is that we're talking to really get on board with this shitty story we're telling. There's nothing wrong with anything that you do, and there are no mistakes. So don't take this as a criticism or a judgment or an opportunity or a reason to go into self-blame or guilt or shame. That is not what we're doing. what we're doing here is we're becoming very conscious of the stories that we're telling, knowing that it is the stories that create our reality, because imagination creates reality. Reality is just the reflection of what stories we're holding in imagination. Imagination is what's real. Reality is the reflection of what's real. Watch the stories that you're not only telling yourself, but then going out into the world and telling. And I myself, all full transparency, have not yet mastered this, because I still catch myself telling a shitty story. And what you'll find, or what you might find with the telling of the shitty story, is once you start, it's really tough to stop. Like once you, like if somebody says to you, so what happened with that thing? And then you go, oh, well, get this, and then boom, you're into the story. And once you're in the momentum of the story, it's really tough to pull back. So the key is to just not tell the story. Now, the reason that we want to stop telling these old unfavorable stories is because what I am experiencing, and perhaps what you're experiencing too, things are moving in our world so fast. There is an acceleration of energy happening. I don't understand it. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it's about. Whatever we're doing with consciousness is what is going to get accelerated, pushed out, and reflected back. And if we are telling these unfavorable stories from the past, like way back, even from childhood, these are states of consciousness, because the story that we tell creates a state of consciousness in our being. And that state of consciousness, we can feel it in our body, and that's what's going to push that out and have it reflected back in reality. This is all about consciousness, the state of consciousness we're holding. And it's simply impossible to tell a shitty story and to not get a shitty state of consciousness experienced in your body as a result of that story. It's also impossible to tell a really good story and feel shitty at the same time. It is about the state of consciousness that we're holding, and it is the state of consciousness that is what will get pushed out and reflected back in our 3D reality experience. We want to be directing our focus and our consciousness to the favorable outcomes that we want to experience. The only time, really, that you want to be telling the old story is if your intention is to revise it. That is the only time to be telling the old story. So when I work with my coaching clients, they come to me with a story that they want to change. So it's in our both best interest to understand the story that they're wanting to change. So they will then share the story once so that I know what we're working with. And then from that point on, we work on revising that story. And once we've revised it, there is no reason to ever tell the old story again. There is no, I mean, it's gone, it's done, it's finished. If you've revised something and you've created a whole new story, there really is no reason to be telling the old story. For me personally, in my own life, I have revised those stories to the extent where I've created new memories, and there is absolutely no reason for me to ever repeat the old story again. And this is coming from 20 years of having identified with these traumatic experiences, to the point where I've written about them, I've spoken in the media about them. Like, I have really created a narrative based on these, like one event that was so, you know, it was awful, but I've then created this kind of narrative over the last 20 years that has impacted all areas of my life because I stuck to telling the old story. And since rediscovering these teachings, I have revised that story among many others to the point where I have now created new memories in my mind. So when I go back to those moments, the characters have changed, the events have changed, and what's most important is the state of consciousness I'm holding has changed. So I can go back to that event and feel and have a completely different experience because I have created a completely different event. This is not about denying or lying or being dishonest or whatever. This is about changing the state of consciousness that we're holding for the betterment of our own life. So we are always doing this for the benefit of ourselves and to create a better life for ourselves and everyone who we are sharing it with. Because if we are better versions of ourselves, then that is going to ping pong, or that's going to bounce off everybody else in our reality. So it is for the benefit of ourselves and everyone in our reality. And because things are moving such a fast pace at the moment, we really want to be careful with where we're directing our focus and attention, and then where we're directing our words, because our words are what brings our imagined realities to life. As soon as we speak them into reality, speak them into the world, they take on a whole new energy, a whole new life form that is going to come back and ricochet back at us. So if we are telling unfavorable stories, that is what's going to come back. It is super important we stop doing that unless it's to revise, unless you're working with a therapist or a coach. You can share the story that you're wanting to change because the intention behind it is to revise it to a new story. That's the only reason that you should have to tell the old story. And once you've revised that story, never, ever, ever tell that story again. Never, ever. There's no reason. Do not do it. If you love yourself, and I know you do because you're here, there is no reason to hurt yourself by telling the old story. So we love ourselves by speaking loving thoughts and loving words, and that includes loving stories. And that's what's going to create a loving reality, a loving life, a life that we love. Okay, so I hope that has helped. I want to give you 3 plays to take away that you can implement in your day today, and that is become aware, first and foremost, of the stories that you are telling in conversations with the people that you interact with throughout the day. So first of all, become the observer. What are the stories you're telling? Number 2, if you find yourself telling a negative, unfavorable story, either stop before you start telling the story, or if you've started, pause and say, actually, I don't think this is a good story to tell. And then 3, what is a better story that you can tell? Either revise the old story or create a whole new story. Those would be my 3 suggestions, my 3 plays. Please remember, you are the creators of your reality. You are the superstar of your show. You are the producer, the writer, the director, and the actor in your movie. What you assume to be true will be so. So assume the best for you and assume the best for everyone in your movie too, and you will have an amazing life. This is my wish for you. Thank you for listening. If you found this video useful, please feel free to share with family and friends or like and comment. If you would like to subscribe to my channel, I would really love to have you, and you can hit that little subscribe button so you never miss a video. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.